Now I'll ask if there are any questions anyone has.
We have our prayers before we work on our prayer shawls. I took from what you said that the collect process might be a good thing for us to follow, because we kind of go to the chase of just praying for that individual to get well, or to, and pray for the people who are taking care of them and those kinds of things. But we were missing some of the components, I think, of the humility part that you talked about, the part about getting, addressing properly in the beginning, and then maybe something like that. So, and also, my understanding is the Book of Common Prayer is also an app?
Yeah, you can, and in fact, on the, well, first let me say, just for viewers at home for the question, it's about, particularly for our prayer shawl ministry here at St. Luke's, that being reminded of some of these things we learned, particularly in the concluding collects for the prayers of the people, it can help us with our prayer in getting that spirit of humility, of opening ourselves up to what God is saying, which is good. I was going to go with something else with that. Was there another part of that question?
Well,
I was getting filled with the Spirit there.
We have written down prayers that we can refer to.
Written down prayers,
but for some things, because there's so much in here.
Yeah.
I was just saying that for all of us, we all have, cell phones that we can download the app.
Yes.
And then we might be able to just go to that and not have to have another piece of paper available.
Thank you. That was a good reminder there too. Yes. So the other thing is, how can you access the Book of Common Prayer? There is an online version of it. So in the outline for the session we just had, I'll have links to the BCP online, which is, I would recommend that more for desktop. I think it works a lot better on a desktop. The other thing you can do is just Google or search for Book of Common Prayer, and you'll find on that list in the search a PDF. And what you can do is you can download that on your phone, and that's what I use. Particularly, I'm not sure quite how this works on Android devices. On Apple devices, if you've got it downloaded, I think whether it's in your files or whether you have it in the Books app, there's also an ability for you to go to a table of contents. So you're not just scrolling down through the whole thing.
I have an Android and I was able to
good.
It, but the pages don't match up. So
yeah, the pages.
So if you get used to the book,
right,
you can't go to the page in the app because it's smaller.
But you will see in that, you will see the pages at the bottom because it's a PDF. Yeah, if you're actually looking, I think you can tap on the document sometimes, and it'll show you a page number. That won't always correspond to the page number you'll see in the text, but you can still see that. So even if you're looking for something, you may have to flip through a couple of pages, but it'll be fine. And like I said, the BCP online is a good resource, just because you can click on it. Has a little thing on the side you can click on. I'm looking for this service specifically, and as something to look for, there are different collects we say towards the beginning of our services that cover just about every day of the church year, every Sunday of the church year at least. But there's also in the back you get a contents for this, and this is on 8:10, the Book of Common Prayer. So this is a section for prayers and thanksgivings. So this can help you if you're looking for something specific in your prayer. And there's even something like this could help before doing something like prayer shawl, before doing a ministry. There is one before
These
worship.
are the ones we were using.
Great. Now, these are good prayers, and
there's some things that weren't an issue when the book was written, the original book. For example, like when we were doing the scars for the women in domestic shelters, you know, the idea of spouse abuse was not something they addressed back then. So we kind of modified that. And sometimes the bullying thing too is not something that was an issue during these times, but we kind of try. But there's celebrations in here, you know, things like birthdays, graduations, those kinds of things that we also make prayers.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, no, certainly. So yeah, events like birthdays and things like that are covered in these prayers and Thanksgivings. As far as, you know, other things that may not be covered by name, you can always look through the prayers listed here, because some of them you can, as you said, you can modify for better use. That can really help. Modifying that for better use for a particular issue. Bullying was mentioned as one. Domestic violence, abuse was mentioned too. Another great resource that may have some more prayers for those issues specifically might be the Book of Occasional Services, which you can look up online as well, and there's a PDF for that too. Because that covers some things that aren't always in the prayer book. But I was going to say too, the daily office might be another place for help here. So the daily office being morning and evening prayer. Those are really great resources because they have some other collects that aren't listed in these other sections. So I'm looking on page 56 for this. So I'm looking at the right one. If memory serves, the right two prayers are the same, just in contemporary language. But renewal of life could cover a lot of different things.
For those we love, we use the peace too, because it kind of covers a lot.
It does. You know, peace, looking at it, you know, defend us, thy humble servants, and all assaults of our enemies. It's a great line, whether you're dealing with bullying or whether, I think we used a version of this, I think, for a little bit. It may have been actually for some morning prayer services we did. We did use this slightly modified last year around the time of the start of the Ukraine conflict, Russia attacking Ukraine, because just slightly modified, it fits that situation too. Yeah, grace, guidance are good ones.
And these are helpful too for the prayer warriors. Like we get text messages pretty regularly now for people that we need to pray for.
Yeah.
These are good references.
Yeah, no, these are. Let's see, I was going to see if there's any for evening prayer. There's another one for peace that's slightly different. This is on, I'm looking at the right two for this. Let me turn to the right one for better reference for us, which is right after, evening prayer is right after morning prayer for the right one. Yeah, for peace, on page 69. On the next page, aid against perils, protection, presence of Christ. Yeah, no, these are all good things too. And I'd also note, as far as like specific prayers, and you can always go online and find things. At the beginning, just again, a good example, like with the beginning of the Ukraine conflict, with Russia attacking Ukraine, the war there, the Archbishop of Canterbury, I happened to see this on his social media feed. So I didn't look this up, but when we were asking, when I had people asking for a specific prayer for that, we posted that, a prayer for him and from the Archbishop of York in England, because they had offered one. It was a really good prayer. So you can find things online too that can help.
We had put together a prayer for the pandemic, in the beginning
Yeah.
of all of our prayers that we did our Saturday. We
That's
continued
good.
to have that one.
That's good, and
Yeah.
being able to put those prayers together is a real gift. I was just thinking when you were saying that, the National Church, I think, had some prayers that were offered for the whole Episcopal Church, so that can be a resource too. Yeah, so if you need the help in prayer, the collects and the prayer book that you can find online are a great place to start. And I highly recommend using that as a resource if you're struggling with how to pray. But if you've got an ability or a gift to write your own prayers, I'd say use these as like a stepping off point, because they give good structure. But they can help. If you're good at writing your own prayers, go ahead and write your own prayers. I am fortunate. My dad grew up Baptist, where extemporaneous prayers are, and being able to do that just off the cuff is highly sought after, seen as a great gift and necessity. So I think some of that rubbed off on me. So I like writing my own prayers and doing that. So it's a helpful skill to have. But again, if you don't have it, these other prayers can help. I think the last thing I'd say on that, for just prayer in general, on individual prayers, is give yourself permission to talk with God more familiarly, if I can say that word. What I mean by that is, not looking, still recognizing the need for respect of God as creator, ruler of all, but also realizing that through Jesus, God has shown us that God wants a relationship with us. So we can talk to God like we would a friend, a mentor, a sibling, a parent, whatever works best for you. And we can take these means. So, we don't always have to be formal, and we can say, hey, God, like, I'm really concerned about this person. Please, can you look after them? And sometimes a good thing is to remember, even Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane says, but not my will, but yours be done. That can be a good way to pray too. Mr. Rogers, even when he was alive, Fred Rogers apparently prayed for like a whole list of people every night, which I think he had a particular gift in prayer that not all of us have, and that's okay. But that's also a good example of thinking of just who's on your mind, who have you talked to in the day, who do you want to pray for? Making lists can help with that too. It's something I've done in the past, is make a list of people I want to pray for regularly. But these are all these are all different tools. There's no one way or right way in prayer. And in looking at the prayers of the people, my hope again is that we see ways we can pray, not just together, but on our own individually, and learn some tips from that. But pray in the way that's best for you, and pray in a way that makes you feel closest to God. Those are the main things that I would say. And yeah, if you're feeling a pull of like, I'm praying for this person, but I wish there's more I could do. But listen to that and realize again, as I said before, sometimes we can't. Sometimes we can't help, and that's okay. It's a reminder of we're human. But sometimes we can, and sometimes it's even just to say, hey, can you check on you, other person, can you check on what's going on with this person? Any other questions?
We interact a lot with the altar guild. They know a lot of times people are isolated.
Yeah, which is good. Which is good too. And I encourage, if you know somebody who need help with their computer so they can watch your services or would like a ride here, reach out. I'd say don't go out of your way if it's going to be too inconvenient for you. But if it's not going to be too inconvenient for you, reach out to somebody and help them out with that.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you all.